For my 30th birthday, my family secretly flew to Miami without me. I found out about it on Facebook. I wrote, "Why?" My dad replied, "We didn't want to waste our time on a clown." I replied, "Then this clown doesn't want to spend money on you." No one took it seriously, but 9 days later they were screaming, begging. I'll never forget my 30th. Not because it was some magical turning point in my life, but because I learned exactly what my family thought of me. Loud and clear on Facebook, with a post that still sits in my screenshots folder like a scar. It was a Saturday, bright and warm, and I woke up feeling strangely calm. Usually birthdays stressed me out, but this one felt different. I had everything planned down to the napkin colors. Soft blush, gold trim. The rooftop restaurant in downtown Atlanta had cleared the terrace for me. 100 guests confirmed. Cousins, college friends, 2 of my old agency reps, and both of my grandmothers who hadn't been in the same room in 5 years. That alone felt like a miracle. Except one group was completely silent. My immediate family. I'd invited them over a month ago. My mom said she'd see about it. My dad just sent a thumbs up, and my sisters didn't respond at all. Ava and Alexis were always like that. Identical twins with matching attitudes. They shared a room until they were 23 and still dress alike, like it's cute. They also both think modeling is a joke. Last Thanksgiving they asked if I ever planned to get a job that didn't involve selfies. I didn't even bother answering, so I figured they'd show up. They were family. We weren't close, but they'd never outright skipped something this big before. Then 2 nights before the party I saw it. My dad posted a blurry photo of the airport bar, holding up a margarita like he just won the lottery. The caption said, "Finally free. Miami, here we come." I refreshed, confused. Within minutes, more posts popped up. My sisters were tagging a beachside hotel. My mom uploaded a boomerang of palm trees with the song Good Life playing over it. All of them were grinning like they'd been released from prison. There was no mention of my birthday. Not even a lie or excuse. They just left. I didn't say anything at first. I sat there in my apartment staring at my phone, thinking maybe it was a mistake. Maybe they were planning something, or maybe it was unrelated. But the next morning I opened Facebook and saw the full post. A group selfie on the beach. Sunglasses, cocktails, matching white outfits. Caption read, "So grateful to spend time with people who make life worth living." I snapped. I commented under it, "Why?" The reply came faster than I thought it would. "We didn't want to waste our time on a clown." It was my dad. I read it twice, then again, and all the heat in my face drained into something cold. I didn't think. I just wrote back, "Then this clown doesn't want to spend money on you." They didn't respond again. No one did. I know for a fact they saw it because my aunt messaged me 5 minutes later saying, "Don't stir things up," and that I was ruining the vibe. Whatever. The thing is, the party still went on. And it was actually amazing. I cried when I walked in and saw how many people showed up. One of my cousins drove 6 hours from Nashville. My friend Jordan brought a surprise video montage with clips from people I'd worked with all over the country. Even my high school art teacher sent a little note with a bouquet saying she always knew I'd do something big. And both my grandmothers, they sat with me the whole night, took pictures, gave toasts. And before they left, they both said the same thing in their own way. They were proud. That stuck with me. My family never even called. At least not then. But 9 days later, they were calling. And messaging. And crying. Turns out my little clown message hit harder than they expected. Because I'd been quietly helping them for over a year. Monthly mortgage payments. Grocery cards. Utility bills. None of it flashy, just quiet support they never thanked me for. And when I stopped, they panicked. And that's when the begging started. It started slow. Just a voicemail from my mom, the kind where she says my name like she's about to scold me, then goes silent and hangs up. No apology. No explanation. Just a pause long enough to guilt someone who still cared. Which I didn't. Not anymore. Then came the text from Alexis. "You around?" Like nothing had happened. Like they hadn't just ditched my 30th birthday, gone to Miami behind my back, and called me a clown in front of the entire internet. I didn't answer. The next one was from Ava. A Venmo request. $10. Caption, "Lunch L." That one actually made me laugh out loud. They were still trying to act normal. As if I'd forgotten. As if I was that dumb. By the end of the night I had 5 missed calls from my mom, 2 from my dad, and a final message from him that said, "We need to talk. Urgently." I didn't respond. I knew exactly what it was about. I had stopped sending money. For the last year and 3 months, I'd been quietly covering part of their mortgage. $1,200 like clockwork every month. No thank you, no check-ins, no gratitude. They acted like it was expected. Like it was just my duty because their lives were hard and mine wasn't. The thing is, I never offered out of guilt. I did it because I knew how close they were to losing the house, and despite everything I still believed they were trying. My dad had been laid off. My mom worked at a front desk. The twins floated between mall jobs and blowing their paychecks on shoes and online courses they never finished. Me. I kept my head down, worked, built my name, booked steady campaigns. Nothing huge but enough. I didn't ask them for anything. I just sent the money. Until they posted that beach photo. Until they made it clear I was a joke to them. Until they told the world I wasn't worth their time. So I stopped. That's when everything shifted. At first they tried guilt. You're really going to do this to us? We didn't mean anything by it. You're being too sensitive. It was a joke. You didn't even say your birthday was that serious. No accountability. Just deflection. They still didn't get it. It wasn't about the birthday. It wasn't even about the money. It was about how easily they discarded me and how quickly they expected me to forget it. Then came the panic. By the third day the texts got longer. My mom told me the bank was calling. That she didn't know how to handle it. That she was so disappointed in how cold I was being. Then Ava sent me a message. We all make mistakes, but this is next level petty. I replied once. You called me a clown. Now you want the clown to pay your bills. Nothing after that. Just silence. Until later that night when I saw headlights from my upstairs window. My dad was parked in front of my apartment building. He stayed in the car for a while, probably trying to figure out if I'd come down. I didn't. He eventually walked up to the gate and buzzed my unit. And again. Then he started calling. I watched the screen light up. 3 calls in a row, then 4, then voicemail. I didn't answer. He left a note in my mailbox. It said, "We're about to lose the house. Please, just 1 more month. I'm begging you." I stared at it for a full minute before folding it up and putting it in the trash. The thing is, they had the money. That Miami trip wasn't cheap. I'd already seen Ava post about their cabana rental. My mom tagged a luxury restaurant in Brickell. They weren't broke. They were playing broke. That's when I decided to call Nana. She answered on the first ring and said, "Finally." I told her everything. Every detail. She didn't sound surprised. In fact, she sounded like she'd been holding her tongue for months. And then she said something that flipped everything upside down. She said, "You do know your parents have been getting help from both of us, right?" That stopped me cold. "Both of us?" I asked. "Me and Grandma Jeannie. We've been covering things for years. Separately. Without telling each other until recently. We found out the hard way. Your parents, they've been lying to all of us." That's when everything started unraveling. After I hung up with Nana, I sat in silence. The only thing I could hear was the refrigerator humming. I didn't even realize I'd been holding my breath. My parents weren't just ungrateful. They weren't just disrespectful. They were liars. Full-blown, strategic manipulators who'd managed to fool everyone around them into thinking they were struggling saints while they used our money to play rich in Miami. Nana told me everything. She'd been quietly helping them for nearly 3 years. It started small, $200 here and there for emergencies, then grew to monthly transfers once my dad lost his job. He told her he couldn't sleep at night knowing the house might be taken away. She said he used to call her crying. Crying. I almost laughed when I heard that. That man has never cried over anything except when the Patriots lost the Super Bowl. But the kicker? Grandma Jeannie, my dad's own mother, had also been giving them money. For longer. And until a month ago neither of them knew the other was doing it. They only figured it out by accident. Jeannie mentioned how she was proud of keeping the family afloat, and Nana asked what she meant. One conversation turned into a full unraveling. Between the two of them, they had paid nearly $40,000 into that house. And not once were they told about my help. I'd been giving $1,200 a month. Jeannie had been giving $700. Nana gave $500. That's nearly $2,400 a month. For over a year. And still they pretended they were barely making it. My dad claimed he was applying to jobs every day, but Nana checked. He hadn't updated his resume since 2022. My mom said she was doing everything she could, but she was working part-time by choice. And as for Ava and Alexis, they were living rent-free and barely worked 20 hours a week between them. I asked Nana if she ever saw them struggle. She laughed. They had a new leather sectional. A 70-inch TV. Someone paid to get the backyard redone with new patio furniture and string lights. They hosted 2 barbecues this summer. And somehow still cried poor. Nana's voice dropped when she told me the last part. "Your mother told me once that you were unstable. That you weren't doing well. That you wouldn't want to be bothered with family problems." That hit me harder than I expected. They painted me as the failure. The irresponsible one. The clown. Meanwhile, I was paying their bills behind the scenes. And the twins, they weren't just distant. They were manipulated. Nana said they'd been told I cut off the family after I moved out. That I didn't want anything to do with them. That I thought I was better than everyone else. Which explained a lot. Why they ignored me, why they never came to my events, why they always had this cold wall between us. Turns out they were fed lies for years. When Nana and Jeannie put the pieces together, they were livid. Nana said Jeannie nearly threw her phone when she saw the birthday post from Miami. Neither of them said anything at the time because they didn't want to make it worse for me. But that silence was over. We're done. That's what Nana said. No more money. No more help. And if they ask why, we'll tell them. Loudly. I barely got a word out. Just listened. Let it all sink in. Then the texts started rolling in again. Only this time they were different. Alexis, why didn't you tell me you were helping them? Ava, they said it was Grandma the whole time. Not you. Alexis again, I think they lied to us. A lot. I didn't reply. Not yet. I wanted to see how deep this went. The next day my mom sent a long message. This time it wasn't guilt-tripping. It was full of panic. We've called the bank. They're reviewing our payment history. If they freeze the account, we'll be ruined. Meeting, please. Just help us one more time. I don't care about the birthday. I'm sorry. Just help us. That was the first time the word sorry appeared. But it wasn't for the right reason. It wasn't about what they did. It was about getting money. That evening I had a long call with Grandma Jeannie. She said she and Nana were coordinating something. A kind of intervention. Not a casual one. A real, sit-down, everything-on-the-table event. A family dinner. They invited everyone. Me. My parents. The twins. A few close cousins. And both grandmothers would be there. Jeannie said, we're going to set the record straight. And they're going to answer for what they did to you. The dinner was scheduled for Saturday. My parents didn't know what they were walking into. I got the official text Thursday afternoon. It was from Nana. Dinner is set. Saturday, 6 p.m. Our house. Come early if you want to help with dessert. It felt weirdly casual considering what we were walking into. A full-blown family reckoning disguised as pot roast and sweet tea. But I knew Nana. She wasn't going to explode. She was going to dismantle them politely with a smile and a firm voice that made people feel ashamed without even raising her tone. I replied, I'll be there. What I didn't know was how much was actually going to go down that night, and how far my parents had taken things behind the scenes. Saturday came and I showed up early. Nana was already slicing strawberries like it was a completely normal evening. Jeannie showed up 20 minutes later with a homemade lemon pie and a folder. Not a recipe book, an actual folder. She tapped it and said, everything's in here. Turns out, Jeannie had been tracking her payments. Every transfer, every receipt, every excuse. She had dates, texts, and even printouts from when my dad asked for extra to cover an old loan, which never existed. I asked her how long she'd been documenting everything. She said, since 2021. Something didn't sit right. I just didn't know what until now. By 6, everyone had arrived. The table was set like any normal holiday meal. You wouldn't think a financial ambush was about to happen, but the tension was so thick it practically sat in its own chair. My parents walked in acting completely normal. My mom complimented the centerpiece, my dad hugged Nana and said, this looks amazing. Ava and Alexis looked more nervous. They kept glancing at me like they wanted to say something but couldn't. Yet, dinner started slow. Roast beef. Mac and cheese. Cornbread. Chatter about the weather, work, absolutely anything but the elephant in the room. Then Nana put down her fork and said, all right, we're going to talk about what happened. Everything froze. My dad chuckled, tried to brush it off. My mom sipped her wine. Then Jeannie set the folder on the table and flipped it open. It got very quiet. She started reading. Every amount. Every date. Every time they said they were barely getting by, while they were flying to Miami or ordering matching swimsuits for some photo they didn't even bother to crop me into. My mom tried to interrupt. Jeannie held up one finger and kept going. Then Nana added her part. She explained how my parents had painted me as unstable. How they told her I refused to help, when I was actually doing more than either of them combined. She even pulled out a screenshot of my Venmo history, which I didn't even know she had. I stayed quiet. Just watched them shrink. Then Ava, unexpectedly, stood up. She said, I didn't know about any of this. My mom tried to hush her, but Ava kept going. They told us you didn't want us around, that you were ashamed of us, that you thought we were losers. Alexis chimed in. They told us you ghosted them, that you refused to come home for Christmas. But now I'm looking back and you did call. You did text. They just never let us see it. I was stunned. I expected a fight. I expected denial. I didn't expect this. My sisters had been manipulated. Just like the grandmothers. Just like me. And the second they saw it, they turned. On the spot. The real kicker? Ava pulled out a printout of her own. An invoice. From a private spa my parents went to. Last month. She'd found it in a drawer when she went home to get a charger. You couldn't pay the mortgage, but you had a couple's massage with cucumber water and a champagne add-on? She asked deadpan. Silence. My mom looked like she wanted the floor to open up and swallow her. My dad just stared at his plate. Then Jeannie leaned in and dropped the hammer. Until you apologize to Nadine publicly, truthfully and sincerely, you're cut off. From me. From Nana. From everything. And don't bother trying to lie again, we'll know. Nana nodded. And we're telling the rest of the family. No more covering for you. That's when my mom finally cracked. She stood up, tears in her eyes, not the manipulative ones, real ones this time, and said, we were ashamed. We didn't want people to know our daughter was more successful than us. It made us feel like we failed. We handled it badly. Horribly. I know that. My dad looked up, quietly added, we were wrong. Then my mom looked at me and said it. I'm sorry, Nadine. We were jealous. And cruel. And you didn't deserve that. The room went still. I didn't say anything for a while. Then I stood up, took my plate to the sink and said, thank you. I needed to hear that. What I didn't say, not yet, was that I wasn't ready to forgive them. But that was coming. So was the next dinner. The one that really mattered. You'd think that after the family dinner, the folder, the confrontation, the public apology in front of both grandmothers and their own daughters, my parents would finally get it. That they'd sit down, keep quiet and start actually changing. They didn't. 3 days later I got a message from a woman named Carly. I didn't know her. She found me through my portfolio website and sent a note through the contact form. At first I thought it was business. It wasn't. She worked for a mid-sized agency in Orlando and apparently she had interviewed my mom just a week earlier for an admin role. Nothing glamorous, front desk, appointment scheduling, that kind of thing. But in the middle of the interview my mom brought me up. She talked about how her daughter was in the fashion world, and then as Carly put it, kind of smirked and said you were more of a pretend model, and that you relied on family money to look like you were doing well. I sat there reading that message, my hands frozen above the keyboard. After everything she was still lying. Still belittling me behind my back. Still doing what she always did. Tearing me down in small rooms so she could feel tall. And the worst part was she meant it. That wasn't some slip. That was who she was when no one was watching. I didn't reply to Carly. I didn't have to. She ended her message by saying, you seem nothing like what she described. Actually, you seem like someone she's afraid of becoming. I took a screenshot, sent it to Nana and Jeannie with no context. A minute later Jeannie replied, get ready. You're not going to believe what we just found out. An hour later Alexis called me sobbing. It took her a full minute to say anything. She said she'd been at the house to pick up some of her things and found a folder in the laundry room, hidden under a pile of old linens. Inside were pre-filled loan applications. My dad's name, my mom's name, and Jeannie's name. Typed in. As a co-signer. They had applied for a second mortgage on the house. Using Jeannie's name. Without asking her. The bank flagged the documents almost immediately. Apparently something didn't line up. They sent a verification call to Jeannie. That was how she found out. She was shaking with rage. And Jeannie doesn't do rage. She's the type to discipline you with a disappointed look and a slice of lemon pie. But this time she snapped. She didn't go alone. He called Nana. Together they showed up at my parents' front door. 2 elderly women in cardigans holding documents, speaking with the full force of every betrayal they had ever swallowed. Jeannie told them she was considering legal action. Nana told them they'd officially crossed into territory no one could defend. And they meant it. By the next day it was all out. The rest of the family heard, not through whispers but through direct phone calls from Nana and Jeannie. Every cousin, every aunt, every distant uncle who still sent Christmas cards. They were told the truth. About the lies, the money, the manipulation, the fake mortgage. Suddenly, my parents weren't just cut off financially, they were cut off socially. No more handouts. No more covering for them. No more sympathy. Even Ava had enough. She packed a bag and left. Moved in with a friend from college in Savannah. Told Alexis she didn't want to speak to either parent until they acknowledged who they really were. Her words. Alexis, meanwhile, started doing their grocery shopping. Not out of obligation, but because she didn't want to see them spiral into actual ruin. But she made it clear, no more blind loyalty. My parents were alone. And I hadn't even said a word to them since the dinner. Then one evening my phone buzzed. Nana. Next Sunday. Dinner. Just us. Me, Jeannie, the girls. Your parents are coming too. I didn't say anything right away. She continued. They asked for it. Said they want to apologize again. This time with nothing in their hands. No folder, no excuses. Just words. And they know you don't owe them anything. I asked her one thing. Did they mean it? She said, they're different. Not fixed. But different. I agreed to come. Not to make peace. Not yet. But to listen. As something had shifted. Not just around them, inside of them. And for the first time they were walking into a room where they weren't in control. Where they didn't get to be victims. Where they'd finally have to face the one person they'd underestimated the most. I walked into Nana's house a few minutes late on purpose. I wanted to see if they'd squirm. The dining room was full but quiet. Jeannie was already pouring iced tea, Alexis was setting down bowls, Ava looked freshly sunburned, probably from Savannah, and my parents? They were both sitting at the table like guests at their own funeral. My mom looked up when I came in but didn't say anything. Good start. I sat down. Nana placed a plate in front of me like this was any normal Sunday, and maybe in her world it was. One where truth got served alongside roast beef and forgiveness had a waiting list. No one said much during the first few minutes. Just forks and glasses. No phones. No side conversations. The air felt heavy, not angry, just filled with all the words people were afraid to say. Then Jeannie folded her napkin and looked across the table. Go ahead. No drama. Just those two words. My mom nodded. She looked down, then up at me. Her eyes were already red, and not in the performative way. She looked like someone who'd finally been told the truth about herself and hadn't figured out how to live with it yet. I don't know how to start except by saying I'm sorry, she said. Really sorry. For everything. For Miami. For what we said. For lying to people about you. For making you feel like you were something to be ashamed of. She paused. No one interrupted. I think for a long time we just couldn't handle the fact that you turned out better than we did. My dad took over. No grand gestures. Just words. We weren't good to you. We mocked your career because we didn't understand it. We envied it. We told ourselves it wasn't real because that made it easier to sleep at night. I didn't say anything. Then Ava added, we believed them. For years. About everything. And I'm sorry too. For not seeing it sooner. Alexis nodded. I should have asked questions. I should have called you. You didn't cut us off, they did. Jeannie didn't say a word. Just watched them. Her arms crossed, her expression unreadable. Then Nana leaned in and said something I didn't expect. Tell her what you're going to do now. My mom looked confused for a second, then got it. We're not asking for money. We're not asking for help. We've started selling things. The second car is gone. We're downsizing. We found a small rental near Lawrenceville. We're starting over. No more lies. My dad added, and we're getting help. Counseling. Together. Because we clearly don't know how to be a family. For the first time in years they didn't sound like actors. They sounded like people who'd lost something real and wanted to rebuild it the hard way. I didn't cry. I didn't hug them. But I nodded. Just once. And that was enough. We stayed at the table long after dinner ended. Talking. Laughing a little. Telling stories from years ago. I hadn't done that with them in over a decade. And when I finally stood up to leave, my mom hugged me. Soft, quiet. No words. Just held on like she finally knew how close she came to losing me forever. I didn't promise anything that night. No fresh start, no forgiveness wrapped in a bow. But I did text her the next morning. It said, let's see if you keep going. And for the first time in my life I think she actually will.